Stars. Princess Kate will focus on her kids after brush with mortality, according to sources. Kate Middleton, who has been almost entirely absent from royal duties this year due to a devastating cancer diagnosis, we still don't know what kind, will continue to maintain a much lower profile than before, with less frequent public engagements even after her expected full recovery, and looking so wonderful and strong at Trooping the Color, as well as the Wimbledon's men's only final. This is according to sources who've spoken to the Daily Beast. Sources say the Princess of Wales' treatment for cancer is understood to be going well, but that her brush with mortality will lead her to focus on her family and her children. On a positive note, reports that Kate is intending to travel to Balmoral for the traditional royal summer vacation coincides with friends telling the Daily Beast that her ongoing treatment for cancer is progressing well. It is thought the smaller Wales family are unlikely to travel this year to Tresco, a small island off the coast of Cornwall, where they have often spent summer holidays. However, the Daily Beast has been told that the couple are aiming to be in Balmoral either for the opening of the grouse pew-pewing season on August 12th or shortly thereafter. William and Kate both pew-pew. Wow. One friend of the couple told the Daily Beast, "Kate has been exceptionally open and honest about her health, making 2 appearances before the summer break at Wimbledon and Trooping of the Colour. It was a clear signal that she is doing well. That is what we are hearing privately as well. It's not over, but there is lots of optimism, lots of positivity." The friend said, "It is obviously still an incredibly worrying time, but all the signs are that her cancer treatment, we still don't know what kind, which is ongoing, is progressing well, and I suppose it'll just keep going and going and going as long as the press relations department feels that." Another source, a Buckingham Palace insider, said they understood there was no sense that Kate was expected to be back on duty for the traditionally busy period of royal engagements that kicks off in the first week of September and runs through Christmas. The source said, "There is still nothing in her diary. My understanding is that people are going to have to get used to seeing a lot less of Kate." Well, we've certainly gotten used to that since December 2023. "The priority for her now is going to be family and the children. The youngest of those kids, Louis, is only 6. Like a lot of people who have a brush with mortality, Kate is going to prioritize the things that matter to her from now on. In her case, that means her kids." So that seems to be saying that Kate is not going to be a working royal. Or is she going to be half in or half out? Remember, people said, "Oh, you can't be half in and half out." That's what Harry and Meghan wanted. And they put out all the stops to make sure that didn't happen, right? It is hard to call shaking hands and smiling work. But if it is work, Kate may know that once King Charles passes away, she'll be working full-time for the rest of her life. So maybe it's okay for her to take off some time now. Does that make sense? You know, traveling and maybe not bringing the children on foreign visits, maybe not bringing the children to, afternoon garden parties, like people who work and have jobs might. Maybe that will never be the amount of workload. Stars, some people are correctly asking if there has ever been a time that Kate has focused on royal engagements instead of herself instead of her family, instead of her children, instead of traveling. Sometimes 6 or more foreign trips per year while Queen Elizabeth was alive, and now there might be a slightly abridged foreign travel schedule depending on whether these trips are happening with William or without. I'm not really sure if that focus ever existed. It would be like me announcing that I will be on the clock app for the next hour and then taking a nap instead of posting to the clock app. If nothing is changing and her life is going to be the same as always, why write this elaborate, dramatic article? It makes me think that either we are being trolled or Kate is being trolled. It must be nice to take a good long period of time off from a glorified charity worker job to get treatment for an illness and not have to worry about putting a roof over your head or affording food. That being said, cancer sucks. No one should be getting cancer, but still, Kate has it really, really good, right? No work, no necessity to work, no obligation to work, no concern about the race riots in the UK, perfect silence, nothing posted to social media, even by the 96-person staff, right? The PR staff, all of that. No, you can just step away from it. It'll be there even when you feel like going back to it. And again, this article reads mostly as, okay, we have absolutely no authoritative information whatsoever, but let's create something vague that might possibly be kind of true, so it just doesn't make it completely obvious we don't know anything at all. I mean, most of the people who deal with serious illness would focus on loved ones and themselves and their health. That's a pretty safe guess. Also, just the mere fact there isn't anything planned for her. She and Kensington Palace previously clearly said they're not going to plan much for her in advance or at all. It strongly reminds me of the famous Kate may not appear in public for the rest of the year, published 3 weeks before Trooping of the Color, written by, wait for it, the very same Tom Sykes who wrote this, right? It is hard to believe anything that Sykes actually writes, right? These people aren't journalists as much as they're columnists. They fill these papers with words that may have no relationship to fact, cross-reference all of the creative writing exercises written about Harry and Meghan since 2018. From, avocado ending the world to Meghan made Kate cry when the opposite was the case, and it was proven to be the opposite of what the published stories were. Sykes gave us a story of Kate's big Easter comeback. 3 days later, we got the I Have Cancer video. Sykes gave us a story about how Charles is more ill than it is known, and then Charles announced coming back to public life the day after. So Sykes is not really a reliable writer. Let's be generous and call him writer, not a journalist, right? Sykes is in the circles, right? The Queen Camilla, her son Andrew Parker Bowles, the royalist toff gossipers, right? He doesn't really need Kensington Palace since he can get people who are royally adjacent to talk to him on his own. It seems like the Kate and William inner circle is locked down and those adjacent don't actually know much. If Sykes gets rumors and gossip, and if anybody has accurate gossip about the royals, it probably would be the Camilla, the Stallions, and her children, in-laws, and that sort of thing. But like all rumors and gossip, it could also be complete BS, right? We know how the royal family and the palaces like to brief against people, to intimidate, to control, to kind of manipulate their public image. Not to say that they haven't in the past accurately briefed Sykes, but sometimes the facts get muddled in all this gossip, and when people gossip with intention, it doesn't necessarily spell the truth. Even reporters that are getting directly briefed from Kensington Palace about Easter when Kate was coming back to public life, they all turned out to be wrong. So we'll just have to wait and see if any of this turns out to be true. At least we'll get to see once again how accurate these claimed but unnamed sources are. Imagine how freewheeling it must be to not have to name your sources, not even to your editor. You could make them up completely, right? If Kate's done her treatment and is, coming back after the holidays, coming back mid-September, going to South Africa to do Earthshot with William, although I doubt it. I think that's very optimistic when a lot of bloggers are predicting Kate will not go on tour anywhere and will not do official work visits anywhere for the next 5 years. And then at the end of 5 years, it may not ever happen again, right? We're being soft walked into Kate stepping back, Kate not participating and being a working royal. They're not saying it quite so clearly yet. Maybe it's yet to be determined. Maybe it's just being soft walked to the public. There's a legitimate way in which the palaces could be waiting to see how Kate feels, right? Chemotherapy, and perhaps even preventative chemotherapy can be quite tiring. I think we're used to seeing our loved ones look quite worn down and different after such treatment, which doesn't seem to be the case with Kate Middleton. But, maybe she'll surprise us and she'll pop out to South Africa for the Earthshot Prize. But I would think if you're immune compromised from chemo or cancer and you have to get immunizations updated or just new ones to go to South Africa, it may not be the right time or the right circumstance to have Kate return to royal life. We get this other story about, Kate and William and the kids will pack up and go to Balmoral sooner rather than later, whereas in the past, they tend to go to Balmoral at the end of August when there's a bank holiday. And in fact, bloggers are claiming that they've already seen Kate and William with the kids in Tresco, which is some kind of island, right? One of the bloggers who's usually reliable when it comes to sightings reported on it. And, we have unreliable newspaper columnist versus reliable blogger. And then stepping back from that, we also see Kate finishing up preventative chemotherapy. Doctors will weigh in on whether she needs another round if they make an announcement that she's in the clear as the kids return to school in September. Maybe she'll start, doing a little bit here and there once the kids are back in their school routine, right? The big events are coming in November and December of 2024. So Kate might make a public appearance or two in September and October, and kind of fashion her schedule around the tours and appearances of Charles and Camilla the Stallion. There could be something that they do for Queen Elizabeth's passing anniversary. So Kate might appear at that. If not, she could do something at Windsor or related to her early years project. Since they've made some announcements without her. If her chemo is ending or about to end, it seems like she's doing much better since they went to Tresco and maybe are all going to Balmoral together. It would make sense that, Kate slow walks back into public life. Or is this just a way to kind of make us think, oh, there's something possible? And then we're going to be just sort of disappointed in drips and drabs, right? Cat is on the roof. Cat could come back. Cat could be gone forever. Cat could feel not well enough to come back. And then you push that 6 months, another year, 5 years into the future, and lo and behold, maybe, by the time Prince William steps up onto the throne, there may be some determination about the marriage, the separation, whether Kate will be healthy enough to step into the queen consort role like Camilla the Stallion. But, I think one thing we can appreciate about Kate's married status is that it has made her very fortunate to be able to make the choices to step away from public life and work. And whether that's because there's been treatment for cancer, whether this has been something that has been a medical necessity or just simply her choice. Again, we don't know the ins and outs of Kate's health. We don't know the ins and outs of that marriage. The overall family dynamic where newly coronated King Charles and Camilla the Stallion, they may not want William and Kate drawing quite so much attention away from them as the ruling couple, right? So being sensitive to, stepping out of the limelight, stepping back onto planes and going on vacation, as has been the pattern for a long time. We'll never know accurately what's going on, but in the meantime, Tom Sykes has given us a feel-good article to let us think about and look at some pretty pictures of Kate as we contemplate whether the sense we had of Kate's disappearance for those long months, is it all better now? Are we back to some regular schedule of public appearances and photos? The conclusion has to be no, not so much, but we'll get these sort of warm and dry comfort articles now and again to kind of fill the void of information and news. Let me know what you think, stars.